I don't know how they get away with it. That's why we call them the Democrats. We have a new name. They're Democrats because they're dumb.
If you've been paying attention recently, you've noticed that we're handed something different every single week. First, it's a news story over a statue. Then it's, what'd you think of this movie? The names change, the arguments change, but the formula keeps people emotional, keeps people engaged, and it never seems to change. Pick a side, get angry, attack the other side. When it's all said and done, you come back the next day, and it's rinse and repeat.
We can live the dream. We can still believe. 'Cause Boss Man is on the air.
Boss Man on the air with you, and it's another great day for a great discussion. Broadcasting for the American Dream. This channel is developed as a way for you to come talk to regular working people, the everyday Joe, about issues most people don't want to talk about in public. Now, I'm not saying these issues brought up at the start of the show don't matter. I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm asking is, have we become so busy arguing about each other that we've actually stopped asking who benefits from the arguments, and have we forgotten about what's truly going on here? That's the discussion I want to have today. Have we become so focused on winning that we've actually forgotten to ask what larger conversation we're not having? Let me know in the comments if you think you have an answer to that question, because I really think we're so divided about every issue in this country that we've actually lost touch with the bigger picture. So let's begin by asking, is America divided because of our difference or in spite of our difference? Now, here's where this discussion is, because if we're being honest, none of this is really new. Human beings have been dividing themselves into groups for as long as history has been a witness. Rich versus poor, city versus country, North versus South, labor, management, religion versus another. The names change, the players change, but the pattern remains remarkably familiar. It's commonly referred to as divide and conquer. Keep one group focused on one side of the argument and engaging the other, but no one spends any time looking beyond the immediate picture. I'm not suggesting that every disagreement is manufactured. No, that's not what I'm suggesting here. Some disagreements are real and mean a lot, but that's how free societies work. Debate, issues, back and forth. Think about the old bait and switch. You know, the magician up front on stage. He's got both hands going, cards here, cards there, right? But he gets you watching one set of cards with activity going on here, while in the background, he's over here doing something different you don't see. That's bait and switch. Our country was founded on the idea of agreeing to disagree. Back in the American Revolution, there was a big disagreement about how to run the country, who should run it. Most colonists weren't really involved in that. They were just doing what they do every day, raising families, running businesses. Growing tensions between local communities and a distant government wasn't really first on their agenda. So when Paul Revere made his famous ride, his message wasn't really about the soldiers more than it was, hey, wake up, pay attention. If you don't pay attention right now, you won't have a choice. Now, I'm not comparing today's America to colonial. It's not even what I'm trying to do. My point is much simpler. Every generation faces moments where when people become so consumed by the argument of the day Larger changes happen around them and they don't even realize it. The challenge is knowing which is which. So the question for us is simple. Put it in the comments if you've got something to add. I'd like to hear from you. While America's focused on the largest argument, what conversations are we not having? What opportunities are we missing? And what lessons from history are we forgetting? Take a look at a recent story that's developed, and I think it shines a perfect example on exactly what we're talking about. The Supreme Court weighed in on the Louisiana redistricting case.
The Supreme Court is hearing an important case about the Voting Rights Act, which is aimed at addressing persistent effects of discrimination against minority voters. The case concerns the congressional map in Louisiana. There are currently 2 majority black districts, and one of them is at issue at the Supreme Court. This is the court's latest case that involves gerrymandering, which is the practice of drawing electoral districts with a particular result in mind. This case involves drawing districts with race in mind. And so far, the court has allowed some consideration of race in the drawing of districts at the state, local, and federal level. The Louisiana case being considered at the Supreme Court now could make it harder, if not impossible, to draw such districts.
Within hours, America does what it seems to do very well. They pick a side. Everybody's got a stake in this argument. One group sees an attack on voting rights, and the other sees it as a victory for states' authority and constitutional approach to districting. Before long, television panels all over the place are arguing. Social media is exploding, and millions of Americans are being told exactly where they should stand. All right? Now, whether you agree with one side or not, isn't really the point that I'm making here. The point is what happened next. The story instantly became another battlefield, another line in the sand, another opportunity for Americans to look across the room and see an opponent instead of a neighbor. And that got me thinking. Historically, we've gone rounds over voting rights. Last month, it was something else. Next month, it'll be something even different. We're encouraged, focus on the fight. Get involved. Make your voice be known. Defend your side and prove the other side wrong. Your Constitution depends on it. And while all of this is happening, few people stop long enough to ask a simple question. Why has division become the default setting for nearly every single issue in America today? Why do you think the main goal of every one of us isn't more focused on the art of agreement instead of the laser point of, I'm right, you're wrong? If you have a thought, let us know in the comments. Let us know, when did we lose the art of debate? History teaches us one thing very important. It's that divided people rarely spend much time working together to build something better. And I didn't rhyme that on purpose. For a nation that once rallied around the idea of opportunity 250 years ago and the American dream, that's a question I think that's worth asking. Look, I'd like to leave you with one final good thought. America has never been a nation without disagreements. It's in our nature. In fact, some of our greatest achievements came from people who saw the world differently, argued passionately, and then found a way to move forward together. Division itself isn't the problem. The inability to work through it is. Because at the end of the day, all of us want the same thing. We want a safe place to raise our family, a meaningful work opportunity that allows us to grow, freedom, a chance to build something better for our children than what we had today. Look, if you found value in today's discussion, please go down below and add to it. Tell me why you think division is the word of the day. Subscribe to Boss Man on the Air and join us for future conversations where we talk about everyday issues, about news, politics, life in general, things that help you move forward. And that's why this conversation matters. You know, I started this channel on the concept of the American dream. And that American dream doesn't survive because people argue or agree on everything. It survives because people are willing to solve problems, find common ground where they can, and keep moving the country forward despite their differences. Over the last few minutes, we've talked about how easily we're pulled into arguments, how easy it is to get people laser focused on one thing and then boom, bait and switch. If we're always fighting each other and we're always involved in you're wrong, I'm right, and we're not building together, we're destroying. Maybe the question isn't whether America is divided. Maybe the question is whether we're willing to unite.